Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I'm here with a cool one for you. This is Burning Banners. Just came to Kickstarter and is by Compass Games. This is a little different from what they usually do. They haven't branched into the fantasy realm as much, so I'm really excited to see them doing this campaign. Literally just launched this morning, I do believe. Yep, launched July 13th this morning. So let's go ahead and do what we usually do. We're going to watch the video, see what cool stuff they've got going on with that. We'll go over the different pledge levels, which with Compass Games, I got to say, I like the fact that there's not a whole bunch of crap you have to worry about. There's not this level and that level and all that crap. No billion choices. It's like, do you want the game or do you not want the game? I like it. It's simple. It's easy. And then we'll touch on the components and all the cool stuff.
500 years have passed since the World Wound. Plotting her sinister reign from the shadows, Lilith, the immortal sorceress, prepares for a return to power. The time has come to unleash.
I wonder if they meant to use the same name as the bad guy from Diablo 4.
Unleash vengeance upon this unsuspecting realm. Welcome to the world of Burning Banners, Rage of the Witch Queen, a tabletop fantasy board game ready to transport you to the heart of Kalar and put your command skills to the ultimate test. Lead your forces, forge alliances, and shape the destiny of 6 unique kingdoms as you explore this magical world across 4 hand-drawn boards. Designed and illustrated by acclaimed fantasy artist Christopher Moeller, Burning Banners is brought to life with a breathtaking fusion of immersive artwork and engaging gameplay that grows with your group. With 29 scenarios, you can experience the tactical thrill of a battle within an evening, or dive into an epic conflict spanning more than a decade. Choose your kingdom wisely, for each holds a pivotal role in the conflicts to come. Build your army from the array of units at your beck and call. From utility miners who gather gold deep beneath the earth, to elite fighting forces, to the mythical wilds of feral rat hordes and towering frost giants. Level up, unleash the might of heroes, monsters, ancient magic, and powerful artifacts in the advanced game. Whether you join forces with the invaders or stand with the resistance, every decision you make will shape the fate of Kalar. Will you heed the call?
All right, so I got to give it to them. That is just a freaking awesome video. Nice intro. I freaking love it. They definitely put in some effort into this one. And already they've blown out the goals. Doing a 30-day campaign here, which I'm excited to see them do because usually they've been doing the shorter campaigns. I like the long campaigns. I know it takes longer for them to get done and everything, but that just gives people the time, like I said, to get a pay period or 2 underneath them in case they need a little bit, especially with prices going up. Everybody's suffering under inflation right now. It's nice to have that. So don't have to worry about this one fulfilling. They've already hit their goals. It's not a problem though. Compass is not a company rather that doesn't deliver on what they promise. I don't think they've ever not delivered. They're usually really quick. Their campaigns, generally within the time that it completes, a few months down the road, you got the game in hand. They are definitely the fastest when it comes to getting stuff out. So I got to give them props on that one. Got our usual pledge without a reward. Nobody does that because, And yeah, that's it. Just 1 pledge level. I love it. They don't even have the retailer thing on here. 89. That's it. MSRP is going to be 109, but that's it. Just, hey, back the game. And this one, it seems like they are having a little more production taking place on this because I was thinking it would be a little bit sooner, but February 2024. So under a year still before the game's going to release, which is way faster than most companies do when it comes to Kickstarter. Usually you're looking at a year minimum. So what is that? That's about 8 months roughly or so from now. Not horribly bad in the time frame that Kickstarters usually take to get done. And I anticipated this one would be a little bit longer to get to you because this isn't their usual fare. But from what I can see, the components are great, and that freaking map, hand-drawn map, really is making me think of A Most Fearful Sacrifice, Civil War game, for those of you who might not have seen it. Beautiful, huge hand-drawn map, and this has the same look to it, except it's, for lack of a better word, more fantasy-y, more cartoony, has more of that look, which is what you would expect. The A Most Fearful Sacrifice had a more realistic look to it while still being hand-drawn, but this one definitely looks good. Complexity is low to medium, which I would expect on this, 2 to 6 players, because of 6 factions. Average playtime, 1 hour, depending on the scenario. I would anticipate some of the larger scenarios, like 6 factions, taking a while. 4 seasons per year. Suitability for solitaire, medium. It's going to be high for me. I play everything solitaire. Recommended age is 14. 13-year-olds, don't you be backing this. It's too much for you. Rage of the Witch Queen is a fantasy board game, 2 to 6 players. Pretty much all the stuff that I just said. With 2 kingdoms and 1 map to an entire 12-year war. That sounds like that would be really awesome, which 6 kingdoms are battling over the 4 hand-drawn maps. It says there's a quick playing base game, and then the more advanced game. The more advanced game, I think, is what's really going to capture my attention, especially where you get to add in like the cards and more special abilities. Just taking a look at some of the components, the tokens, I had some ideas on it. Now, the rules are available here, so if you are curious, one of the things that they do, and I always give them props on this, usually they have the rules available so you can download it and read it and kind of see what the game's all about. Reading that will really give you a good gist of what's going on with it, and they are usually always good about that. Hey, fund it in 2 hours. Everyone, I don't care how long it takes to fund it. For some reason, that just became a thing on Kickstarter, and I don't blame them for that. Plenty of other companies did the same thing. Hey, our game funded in 2 hours. Okay, if you don't fund in 2 hours, does that mean the game's no good? No, it doesn't matter as long as it funds. Let's see, all 7 punch boards upgraded 20 to 2 millimeter, 20 millimeter, huge. Nice. What is in the box? So the 7 punch boards that they just said, the rulebook and campaign book, the black and white die. So we've got 6-sided die and 8-sided die, which I really like. I get tired personally of nothing but 6-sided die. So it is nice to see them branching out and using something different, 8-sided die. And I love 8-sided die because that is what is used in X-Wing, and I've always loved X-Wing. The 65 coin counters, 162 rounded corners on the counters, which is so nice. And these are hand-drawn as well. And I think that gives that just a nice aesthetic, nice look. For me, it almost makes me think of my younger days, the old school fantasy gaming days back in the 80s and 90s, the way some of the counters and the characters are going to look. These have that same feel to it, right? That look to it really brings back my earlier memories. Now, like I said, I haven't read the rules on this just yet. They are available, but just guessing, looking at some of these counters, my guess is these icons that you're seeing on the left side probably have something to do with special abilities of the units. And these icons here on the right side probably have to do with steps, because you got a storm giant here with a bunch. You got some cavalry here with a little bit less. You got a right, like a ghastly Grim Reaper looking thing, just a couple. But then this soldier dwarf character with like 3. So that to me makes it look a little bit like steps, health counter, right? Way to think about it. I'm not sure what the white and the dark represent on that. I have to read the rule and figure out how that's going to work. Just a couple displays, so hopefully it's not going to take up too much space as far as that goes, but with the big hand-drawn map things, I would anticipate a fair amount of space. But considering those are separate map pieces, you can do smaller scenarios, which is nice. 192 playing cards. That is a lot of playing cards. That's going to add a lot of depth to that advanced version. The player aid, it seems like there's just a single player aid, and it's going to have everything that you're going to need on there. Turn sequence, the actions, train effects, combat resolution. And this is what I wish I could see from more game companies out there, the wargaming companies, is that mix, right? That combination of fantasy and war game type gameplay, hex encounter, and warring factions, all that good stuff. And you really don't see that. It seems like wargaming is generally either miniatures or it's historical with the counters. You don't usually see too much. There's some. I'm not saying there's none, but it's not as widely available as all the historical hex encounter gameplay. And I love fantasy stuff. I'd love the futuristic sci-fi. I love the fantasy version. Love to see them trying anything new. So now they're doing fantasy. Now they got to do some sci-fi for me too. This is going through so quick, but it seems like the usual type of factions you would see, stuff like dwarfs and orcs. The undead, I'm guessing, is the army of the night. That would make sense. Humans with like that empire looking one, that one, the Eastern Empire. So what I'm guessing, or no, they might be more of Amazons because oh, it's going too fast. Bill, you should slow this down just a bit. You're going too fast for me to see it. Let's see if it shows us any more factions. Y'all can't tell me those maps aren't just gorgeous, though. Look at that. I wonder if they're sea units. That does make me think. Maybe you can traverse that because they've got a lot of islands over here, so you would have to be able to traverse the seas. Otherwise, these islands are useless. Why have the islands if you can't traverse them? Maybe there's rules in there just for units to have, generic transport or whatever, so you can just move the units to the islands. Or maybe there are actual sailing ships in the game as well. Some of the factions might have some naval capabilities. Why back now? Because it's a cool looking game and we want to get it, and you get it sooner. Although, really, with Compass, they're pretty good. You can buy it off their website or Kickstarter. It really doesn't matter. Unlock additional stretch goals. We've got this really ugly guy, man. He's so funny looking. I'll tell you, Mo. Got this funny hat that he wears, just makes him look all goofy as hell. I'm just picking. I love Mo. He's real good, people, and he's got a good series he does called the Learn to Play series. He does on a lot of Compass games. So definitely check that out. If you don't want to read the rulebook, you can watch the video because he does all those Learn to Plays. Like I said, rulebook is right here. They did do an interview with the Players Aid. Never heard of those guys before. And then here's some pictures. I believe Chris Muller was in one of these pictures earlier. I can't remember if that was him or not. Ooh, is this going to show us our factions? Okay, yeah. So here's our factions. We've got the Eastern Empire, and I am not going to try to read this because if I do, I'm going to have to put on my funny looking glasses, and I don't want you guys to see me wearing those. Looks like we've got some type of like magical human faction. Vikings, something Viking looking, goblins, orcs, like I said. The Oathworm. What the hell's the difference between the... Okay, yeah. These guys are like Vikings, so they're going to be bigger, and these guys are going to be like dwarfs because you can see the shorter stature. And right here, this is going to be my faction. I can tell you that already. Army of the Night. I always go with zombies, skeletons, night stuff, anything that's like undead. That's my faction. Always has been, always will be. I love the undead. I don't know. It's a me thing. Vampires, zombies, werewolves, anything to do with that. I am always all about it. Christopher Muller, here we go. I know I had seen his picture in here, so you guys can read about him. He has done a lot of other games as well. Sadly, I have a little bit less experience with his games because he's done some Napoleonics and Civil Wars, and I'm just not as much into that type of gameplay. But here you can see where he was working on some of these maps, and I got to give him props. I could never do anything near as beautiful as what he's got worked on here. So beautifully hand-drawn map. Get the game just for the map itself. And again, like I was saying, some of the other games that he's worked on, Napoleonics and Brothers at War, so Civil War, and some of the highlights of his career. And last little bit, our shipping information, which I gotta say, the Compass Games is actually usually pretty good when it comes to shipping. They're not going to try to rip you off. It costs what it costs. It sucks. They do have the EU friendly shipping. As far as I know, I do believe I saw them saying that earlier, and they're saying they have it now. So hopefully that helps you guys out. Those of you who are in the EU, I know you guys get hit with a lot of stuff that we don't get hit with here. Sorry about that. But Compass is doing everything they can to mitigate some of the hurt that you're getting. Anyway, that is Burning Banners. Looks awesome. Looks like we got a bunch of cool stuff. in this game. And good God, look how big that scenario booklet is there. Wow. Okay. I'm definitely excited on this one. I can't wait to try this one out. It looks like something that's going to be so up my alley. And all those stacks of counters that you can get spread across the map. Oh, big war. Gotta love it. Can't wait to try this one out. Yeah, if you're into fantasy and you like war games, especially your hex and counter war games, definitely one that you shouldn't pass up. They are working hard on this one. You got plenty of time, like I said, though, 30 days. So they've stretched it out. So if you need a pay period in there, something like that, you've got your chance to get it. No reason not to be able to back this one. They're definitely working with you. And I gotta say, I gotta give them a little credit on this one. Their prices have not gone up as much as others. Everything has gone up here recently. I know it. I know you guys feel it. I feel it. I definitely understand your pain on it. But they haven't gone up a tremendous amount. They're within the ballpark of what would be reasonable considering everything that's happened. So many other Kickstarters I've seen, I just can't even think about backing them because what used to be able to be backed at $90, $100, 110, somewhere in that range. Now they're saying, oh, 180, 190, 200, whatever. And we're talking about like base level pledges. Not that was an all-in pledge back in the day for a bunch of crap. And now you're looking at what used to be all in just for a basic level, and they're asking like $400 or $500. So Compass has definitely not been hitting people like that. That's definitely appreciated. All right, but that's going to be it for me on this one. You guys definitely check it out and stay tuned for the channel because I got a bunch of playthroughs coming up for you guys that you definitely don't want to miss. All right, y'all take care. I'll catch you in the next one.